to our second session of Lib Talk. I'm Michaela Johnson, the instruction librarian.
And I'm Jordan Barlow, the Access Services Associate.
My name is Tavares Mixon. I am the Technology Service Associate.
Excellent. And today, Jordan and I will be interviewing Tavares about his role here at FABLAB, right? And then we're going to have Jordan kick us off.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for our second episode of Lib Talk. I'm
Thank you
pretty
for
excited
having me.
about it.
All right.
So, we're going to start off with some questions of getting to know you.
Okay.
So, what does a typical day in your role look like, or is there such a thing?
Let's see. Some days are different, but my typical day would be doing 3D printing, students sending requests, and teachers also sending requests to have things printed for their classroom. Some of them be like for academic reasons, some of them for personal. So that pretty much is the start of my day. I'm over the laptop reservation, so a lot of times I'm making sure all the laptops and the computer lab and everything, all that equipment is up to date. So when the students come in to utilize it, they don't have any issues. So pretty much my day is 3D printing and tech.
Okay. Excellent answer. Next, we really want to know, how do you see your role connecting with other library services? So you talked a bit about how your work supports student learning and creativity at the university, but how do you see your work intersecting with other parts of the library, like with instruction or research help and different events?
Some of the things that I know that we can do in the Creative Studio and as well as the FABLAB can be used in academic settings. Last semester we had a teacher reach out that she had a project for her students to find a building on a 3D website, or they create their own, and they had to discuss that in class. So I feel like different things like that kind of reach out to different parts of the university that can be used.
This is true. Tavares and I had a lot of fun last semester when we helped a class with a 3D printing project. I was able to talk them through how to request a 3D printed item, but also how to build their assignment using a design software like Tinkercad. And from there, Tavares was able to receive their assignments and print them out. And it was just like a really wonderful project that we were able to assist with.
Well, one other thing that Tavares did not mention that he does help with other parts of the library is that there is an electronic events board that is constantly circulating in our lobby.
Yes.
My favorite slide right now is, of course, the minions waving our students and faculty alike into our library. I feel like it adds a personal charm to it, as well as all the event information that does scroll across it as well. So I don't know, just be on the lookout for our minions scrolling by.
Yeah, I try to be a little creative and bring a little laughter into the library when you first walk in, so yeah.
Oh yeah, as soon as I saw him, I was like, that was Tavares'. Well, let me ask you this. We're gonna go into personal stories and experiences that you've had in the library. So, do you have a favorite memory of helping a student or faculty member? Like, do you have a memory that stands out to you?
Not really a faculty member or a student, but it was more of a patron that came in, and she was friendly a little bit because she was trying to get her cell phone activated. She had lost the one that she had, and she went out and purchased another one. But she could not figure out how to get online to get it activated, get it set up and everything, and that was her only source of communication with the world. So she came in the library one evening and she asked for help. Well, I was on the desk at the time, so I assisted her. I got her information, we sat down together, I called the phone company, got everything set up for her, we went online, got it activated, and about 10 minutes later, the phone was in there, it was active. So I felt like that really was my most memorable moment since I've been here.
That really speaks to the type of person you are, of wanting to go the extra mile and help our patrons that, aren't even related to the university itself, but to just our community patrons as well. And so, that really just speaks to the kind of people we have here.
Thank you.
It takes special patience to work on projects that aren't part of our day-to-day.
I wish I had something to add to that, but I feel like you said it all. Tavares is awesome.
No, like no joke.
So while we're on our feel-good moment, right? Let's talk a bit more about like feelings and the impact that we make. So how does it feel when you see students like really engage with the FABLAB or the Creator Studio?
I don't know. I feel, I guess, happy because I see them being able to utilize the resources that we do have in place. And I feel like my job has a little bit more purpose because since I'm kind of over those resources, I try to make sure they have, you know, different things they can utilize and need and use in the FABLAB and the Creative Studio. So it's like, I see the things that I'm doing being used by the students, so that makes me feel like I'm really doing, you know, what I'm supposed to be doing.
I hear you. I feel like a lot of people should understand like how much we as librarians love to see people enter our space and use the resources that we're able to provide and assist them with. For me personally, it's just a source of like pride. So in addition to feeling this sense of joy and pride in you and people and students using the spaces, what kind of atmosphere or experience do you hope people walk away?
I want them to walk away with a positive experience when using the resources that we have. I want them to feel like that we had exactly what they needed in that moment. And sometimes also we have to realize that it's not just about the physical things that we have, but sometimes the emotional support that we can give them, the communication that we can give them, because a lot of students come in and they might be having a bad day, they might have had some issues earlier. Sometimes just to engage with you on a daily basis, it kind of makes their day a little bit better. So you realize that it's not only just what you do physically at work, but the vibe that you bring to the students as well that really drives your day.
The FABLAB and the Creator Studio, they're not just for academic purposes, they're also for personal enrichment as well. It's seen as a way for students to engage with creative projects, to find a sense of like fulfillment or internal peace and community, right? Because that's what the library is here for.
A creative outlet for them to be able to use, so yeah.
I don't know, sometimes it kind of makes the academic year go by a lot faster when there's a project that you're working on that you're actually passionate for, that you don't really view it as a grade. So to have a space that you can pursue those passions, really makes a difference. I guess what we could be saying to ourselves is WWTD, what would Tavares do? I'm gonna have to, start practicing that question myself quite often.
I'm gonna put it on buttons.
We need buttons.
Made in the FABLAB.
Exactly. So, you never know what you're gonna be able to make in there. From buttons to sewing to, Lord help it, what else do we have in there?
Cricut machine, the hot press.
Cricut machine, hot press.
3D printing, the resin printing, yeah.
We can make t-shirts.
We could.
Oh,
We could. With your face on them. For those of you who have never seen Tavares, he has a wonderful smile.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so do we want to look forward to some questions?
Yeah, what are we looking forward to?
Yes. So if you could design a dream project, event, or service for the library, what would it be? And no, we can't have a Minions party.
No, we can't.
We've asked.
I would think one project that I would, if I could create, is maybe like how can I word it? A creator's night. Where like we decorate the FABLAB and we have it set up for like a couple hours and the kids can come in and they can really utilize the space with their friends. They can create t-shirts together, buttons, sewing, different things like that. Just create a welcoming atmosphere, maybe once a month, and they can come in, like we had like it decorated with the little string lights and had like little soft music playing, something that just gives them an outlet to be like, okay, this is my moment to release, have a moment to breathe, enjoy a little bit of time, be creative, and just take a moment from life.
Okay, so like a crafting corner
Yes.
kind of vibe. Okay, I really like that. I think that there's like, especially some projects. I mean, for any of y'all listening, you know, I'm a crocheter. I really do enjoy, you know, working with some yarn. So I think having like a space like that where anyone of crafting of any kind could, you know, come together and just have a very relaxed evening, I think that would be perfect.
Craftapalooza.
A craftapalooza.
There you go.
So, let me ask one more question about some, you know, future plans that you may have.
Okay.
Where do you see the library growing in the next few years? So like if there's a, area that you specialize in that you feel like is gonna be continually growing or changing, and how do you see your role fit into that vision? So it can be anything with like the FABLAB changing, anything with the Creator Studio changing, anything with our tech that we may offer differently, anything that, you know, you think that the library could benefit from, or at least, you know, what might actually change, because tech is always like changing.
Evolving, yes. So I think that's the main thing with the evolution of tech. There is always gonna be a use for somebody in tech. Like with the study room, I feel like eventually we will update some of the equipment in there, be able to utilize it. The kids use webcams, they wanna do Zoom calls and stuff, if they have tests or communicate with their professor in a space that they can't necessarily go to their professor's office. Let me see what other ideas.
I'm like, could we fit a 360 camera in here? It's probably too big. That just came to mind.
That is a possibility.
That would be pretty fun to have,
Mhm.
like somewhere on the premise of just, especially for like events that we're hosting.
Mhm.
Ooh, like if we could host like a gala, a gala in
Mhm.
the lobby, a gala.
I'm trying to think of different things that, let me see what else we could possibly do that would kind of include with tech too. Get more 3D printers. And because a lot of the students, they come in and they find these designs and they're a little bit more in depth than what our equipment is able to do. Our equipment is only able to kind of print maybe one color at a time, but they do have printers that you can do different color filaments at the same time. And I feel like that could be something later on down the road that we can invest in, be able to utilize, and the kids will really enjoy that as well.
Yeah, because I've seen some 3D print designs that just are like out of this world, insane. Like, but even it's the ones that look really simple. Like there's this little, it looks like a little raccoon fidget where, you know, it's the articulated tail and everything. But it's because there's multiple like filament colors to it. And so, you know, having, not being able to really print of like something that looks simple, when in all actuality it's pretty difficult. I mean, I've seen people like changing filaments out mid-print, but that comes with problems of its own, of just not being as accurate or not even continuing to print. I've seen some 3D print jobs ending up like nearby ruined. So I mean, it's a pretty finicky process, but overall, I mean, I think that would be pretty cool to see what else we can update and change as far as our 3D printing capabilities.
Speaking on looking forward and talking about what we can do to further develop the resources that we have or add to the resources that we have, what's one thing that you'd like students to know about the Creator Studio or the Fab Lab that's there now that they may not realize they have access to?
With the Creative Studio, I want them to realize that we have the entire Adobe suite. So they're able to get on and do Photoshop, image editing, different things like that. And it doesn't always have to be for academic use. You can come in and use for personal use as well. So if it's different the things that you want to create or do or design, you can use those resources in the Creative Studio, and then you can come downstairs in the Fab Lab and print them out on a t-shirt or anything like this. So you're really utilizing both spaces to be creative and design what you want to make.
This is true. When I was testing out things in the Creator Studio, I went to Adobe Illustrator, which is something that we have, again, with the full Adobe suite, because I'm a drawer, right? And so, like, I was just testing out, just doing little doodles, right? And I just thought it would be so cute on, like, a t-shirt that we could use with the Cricut maker, or maybe even the button maker, so things like that. So you can create a project through any stage, whether you're starting at the very beginning with like drafting and planning to execution, where you're just cutting things out, making things real. But moving along, do you have any advice for students or faculty who want to get more involved with library services but don't know where to start?
Really let the creative juices flow. Like, don't think outside the box when you want to create assignments and projects, and really see how much students engage in them. And it can be, like I said, the FABLAB and 3D Studio can really be used in an academic space as well, when teachers create assignments and different things like that for the students. But also, like I said, that gives them a chance to really be creative and enjoy what they're doing for your class. So it's a little bit of both for each side if they do it like that.
Mm-hmm. This is true. So I know we talked a bit about instructors using like the 3D printer for different class assignments, but we also have instructors using things like the craft card to make zines, or if you have a like end of the semester project where students have a bit more of a choice in what project that they work on, maybe to reflect a semester of learning, they can use any resources that we have, right? So if you ask them, so if they ask to do like a podcast or a recording, they can use the Creator Studio. Maybe they want to record a song, or say if they're doing like this, maybe they're doing like a project on fashion, they can use our sewing machine. Anything really that they can think of. They can let their imagination run wild within the confines of the assignment, of course. So I feel like we're a bit early for our fun question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway, right? So you talked a lot about the 3D printer. What's your favorite thing that you've ever printed?
It was one project I know I printed. A student was doing it for their Spanish class, and it was a building in another country that they wanted to be printed. It was like an amphitheater, and the way it was designed, you could see the interior of the building. So you can see like the staircase, you can see the wall, you can see like the markings on the ceilings and all of that. So it was a lot of detail that was in it, but it was also had to be printed individually, piece by piece. And it was 15 pieces that had to be printed in order to be put together. So once I printed it and put it together, you can really see just how in-depth and in detail it really was. So I think that was my most favorite print that I did.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I remember that one coming across the front desk. It was like the talk of all of us up here. We were just like, what is this?
Oh darn, I think I missed it.
I don't think you were here yet.
I don't think you had joined our team yet, so it was, about two months or so? It was fairly recent, but yeah, I don't know. I still like the little lizard. He's cute.
My special little lizard, yes.
Yeah, the special little lizard. He just sits on our computer desk and just, waves at everyone that passes by. I mean, I think those are adorable. Not to mention, like, all of our giant dragon that guards the front desk. I mean, what library doesn't need a guard dragon?
That's true. And Scully the skeleton.
Oh, yes.
We like to pose Scully into like different positions. It's always fun.
We don't know what he's gonna get up to.
You never know what's going. You never know.
Mm-hmm. And his pet T-Rex. What was the T-Rex's name?
I don't know, I've been calling it Rexy.
Rexy.
And it's like, is Scully gonna walk Rexy today? Is he gonna run away with Scully's leg?
You never know.
We never know.
Do you have a favorite item that you've used in the FABLAB or Creator Studio, Jordan?
Ooh, I really do like the Cricut machine. I personally think that you can create pretty much anything with it. I've used it in the past for projects of my own, or I really love designing on Cricut just so I can create t-shirts. I've utilized that in previous projects I've done. More on a personal note, this is how creative you can be when it comes to using the Creator Studio. As some of y'all may know, I recently got married. Yes, I know, no secret. But as a surprise to my husband, I wanted to sing to him. However, I am probably the most introverted person you will meet. I do not like attention on me, and the idea of having to sing in front of someone while I'm also having to be center of attention that day terrified the ever-living mess out of me. And I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of friends, family, and my soon-to-be spouse. So I took it upon myself to record the song ahead of time here in the Creator Studio. Michaela was a huge help on that front with me. So was Tavares. There was many times where I was like, "Hey, Tavares, I've messed this up again. I need you to come help me." And so having a team that not only helped with a passion project of mine, the end result ended up, I was very pleased with it. And I guess it sounded good because on the day of, he didn't realize it was me that was singing. But after I told him, he really just was so shocked that I had done this ahead of time, and it ended up being just a really fond memory that we now get to listen to. And so, aside from smell, your hearing sensory is the second closest link to memories. And so to hear that, that auditory jolt of memory coming back for us is something we're going to be able to hold on to for a lifetime. So in reality, this is, it's nice to know that the library has been a huge help in all of my personal projects, as well as, academic projects, and just, I don't know, like, the library is pretty much a rock on any surface that you can imagine. But I will say, yeah, creating the vocal recording in the Creator Studio was by far one of my favorites.
That was so beautiful. How am I supposed to follow up there, Jordan?
Well, you can follow it up by, it's one of those deals that, it's what we talked about earlier in the episode of just what links are we going to be able to go to in terms of, creativity, and how we're going to foster an environment that does produce, a creative environment. But it's this idea that students shouldn't have any fear coming to us when it comes to a new project that they want to pursue. Michaela will be the first to tell you that if you're up here recording music or anything, as an avid music lover that I know you to be, you get really excited to hear the faint playings, and
I do. I hear students record sometimes their own music, and so that's always just like a joy to see someone that's so creative using the resources that we have, like you. Yeah. If you ever hear Jordan sing, it will move you to tears.
Please stop. No, seriously, stop. But no, it is one of those things where we have a pretty friendly team, and we're all motivated to help our students succeed, even on fronts that are beyond academia. So to not only have a space that can go beyond something, because let's look at it this way. Yes, it's a space for creativity and all these, passion projects to, take full shape. But looking at it from a skill-based learning, these are skills that you may have to use in future occupations.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how much I would have to be using creative outlets in terms of, creating some of the things we do with social media with Kelsey, which we'll talk about in a later episode.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things that it can build on itself. And even Tavares, I think you have had a learning curve since joining us as well, of that you had an expectation of what tech was going to look like for you in education, but now as it's evolved and changed, you've had to change with it as well. Yes. But maybe that's a question to ask you before we close, is what area of tech have you had to, you know, evolve with or change with, or maybe what's an area that was the most unexpected to have to evolve for?
The area that was most unexpected for me, I would have to say, would be probably 3D printing. With tech, I was more accustomed to the hardware and software issues, repair, update, different things like that. But to come in and have to utilize my creativity in my work, that was that was a little bit different for me. So that I feel like that was the most the learning curve that I had, was coming in and really utilizing and understanding the 3D printing process.
I mean, it's just one of those deals. You don't realize, you know, to make the job more your own, that you do have to lean into those creative outlets, and it can be a little daunting, maybe a bit intimidating to have to branch yourself out into that role. And I think that kind of speaks to a lot of who we are here, just to, you know, that we have to branch out, we have to evolve, and that goes beyond tech and, you know, creator spaces. But, you know, I think what you say holds a lot of truth to it. Well, another thing that we could talk about is what has been something that, you know, you didn't realize that your job was going to affect. You know, what area of the library were you most surprised to be like, oh, I didn't realize tech or creator studio or FABLAB like affected this portion of, you know, how we run our library services?
I would have to say working the front desk.
Working the front desk?
Yes.
Oh, okay, you know, because you are one of our public associates, so what about that was odd for you as far as like having to join public service, like being the front face of the library and also doing things that are like on the background?
It was different because I would have to say most people consider like an IT tech person a behind the scenes type of character, versus being in the library, it was, you had to be on the front line as well. So that was a little bit of a change that I was not accustomed to. I'm a very introverted person. I'm like, yeah, you find me somewhere in the corner working on a computer, working on a laptop, doing something, and you might even know I'm there. But that was something that I had to realize, that I can kind of combine those together, working in IT and working with the public as well.
And yeah, I think that has also been a positive to you as well, is because you have always been a very, yes, even though you are introverted, you're also very personable with our patrons. You know, it's really nice to have someone that's on the front face of the library that students, public patrons, faculty alike, you know, all can gravitate towards. Because I know that the front desk can be extremely intimidating, and especially if there's like a request that you have that you're like, I don't know if this is like, you know, do I ask about this, do I not ask about this? And so to have someone like you who is jovial and just really good for a good joke, it really builds that gap that, you know, some people don't realize that it's actually needed for, you know, front-facing front desk services. And so I feel like a lot of patrons we have, you know, I've heard several people, you know, talk about how they really enjoy talking to you just because you are a comforting person. And that is also, you know, to your benefit and to your credit. Because guess what? If it comes to tech, I'm not going to be that kind of person, because tech really kind of scares me. So having someone that I'd be like, hey man, I don't know what's going on here. And someone that's gonna make the process not as intimidating, because let me tell you, I have asked stupid question after stupid question. Tavares has made every stupid question I ask sound like I'm Einstein level smart, and was like asking about like string theory or something. No question is, you know, no question can go unasked. And that's kind of like the best part of how we've been able to have you with our team and interact with you. And, you know, even students are like, they enjoy asking you questions. We definitely get a lot of questions.
That's true. I think my favorite Tavares story is when I was trying to 3D print something and I couldn't figure out like why it wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. and I thought I broke it. And so I had to tell Tavares, because he's the only one who can fix it. I can't fix it. And like he was able to walk me through like what I was doing wrong, and we were able to get my item printed, thankfully. Go Tavares.
I'm starting to see a trend that it's just, Tavares is like the Bob the Builder of the library. Can he fix it?
Yes, he can.
Yes, he can, is the answer. I mean, oh my goodness. Yeah, because even my story was like, yeah, I thought I broke this, and then I was like, hey Tavares, it's me, I'm the problem. There's been multiple times of just being like, hey man, I've messed it up again. And she'll be like, hey man, how's your day going? I know it just started, but
Hi, I'm like, hello, how are you? What's wrong?
that's just how our conversations start. And it's just, yeah, he knows as soon as like my little iMessage pops up, it's just like, hey man, how's it going?
And when Kayla comes around the corner, hi, hello Michaela, how are you? What's wrong?
So in other words, just go easy on the bars, because the man needs as much praise as possible. And he goes through a lot of stuff, even behind the scenes.
I'm sorry. I even praised him through like the tours, like the last library tour I did. I was telling them how Tavares and I can help them with like either FABLAB or the Creator Studio. Unless something is broken, then that's just Tavares.
Oh, goodness gracious. I mean, look, regardless of what our listeners hear today, we want to make sure that they understand the Creator Studio and the FABLAB are wonderful opportunities, for our students and faculty to really just, go all out with their projects that they have. And, we want y'all to know, to those of you listening, that Tavares is a wonderful asset to our team. And we hope that you not only get to, speak with him or learn different tactics on how to use different things in the FABLAB or Creator Studio, but really just know that you do have people here that are willing to help and willing to make the process as simple as possible. And again, we just hope that y'all want to take part of the options that we have here.
I feel like that sums it up.
Mhm.
That says everything we need to say. Until next time, please join us next month where we'll talk to, who are we talking to, Charlotte?
Look, we are actually going to be diving into the archives next month.
Yay!
So we'll be meeting with Sarah Parrish and Stephanie Salvatierra. So we hope you tune in for all of that. We're going to be discussing probably a little bit of the history of the W, as well as how we can best preserve the information that we have. But, Tavares, is there any last comment that you would like to, or any advice that you would like to give to our listeners? No? He's shaking his head. Okay. You're not on camera, so they can't tell. He's shaking his head for those of you that, can't see us. But no, seriously, thank you again for meeting with us today.
Thank y'all for having me.
You were just fabulous to work with, so we love being able to joke with you. But yeah.
Cool beans. Alrighty. Bye.
Bye.
See y'all later.
Toodles.